Luke chapter 1, verse 30. The angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God." This devotion is coming from Reverend Dr. Gerald Jones, retired, of First Congregational Church in Greenville, Michigan. The couple stood at the inn's door. They were bone weary from their 90-mile trudge from Nazareth. The innkeeper noticed the young woman was pregnant, very pregnant. He tried to avoid eye contact as he said, "Sorry, the inn is full." As an afterthought, or perhaps a twinge of pity for the young woman's plight, he added, "I do have a stable out back. It's not much, but you are welcome to stay there for the night." What do you suppose went through Mary's mind? Perhaps she thought, how can a filthy stable in this unremarkable town be the birthing room for God's Son? Has God changed his mind? Has God forsaken me in the hour of delivery? This wretched, drafty, stinking place cannot be a fitting place for the Messiah's birth. Why here? Was Mary afraid? Did she feel betrayed? How often does God's plan and our expectation become a mismatch? Maybe you're going through something right now, this Christmas season, and your plan for what was going to be taking place is mismatched with what God's providential plan is that is actually happening in your life. Often at the heart of this mismatch is fear. Many of our fears are unfounded. Some are shrouded in the conflict between the seen and the unseen. God's message to Mary was to be not afraid. Understandably, Mary's questioning was a perfectly normal response. The good news for all of us is Mary's willingness to abandon her fears and to allow God's plan to come to life in a dingy stable. Because she moved beyond her fears and was used by God in this way, we rejoice in our Savior's birth. As Mary stood at the barn door, fear gave way to faith, hope, and love. As she bravely entered the stable, the grime of this world welcomed the wondrous grace of God. In Mary's faith, the great mismatch of mortal expectation and divine plan was solved. The good news within the good news is that great things happen when our plans and God's promises become one. Listen, I'm praying for you today that God will give you the courage and the strength to move beyond a place of fear in your life and in mine. That the Lord will allow us to have the faith necessary to see the beauty in whatever it is that God is doing in our life. Whatever is happening today is the direct consequence either of the plan of God or the allowance of God. In both cases, God's providential reign is not hindered by our circumstances. The Lord is working things out. The Lord is bringing his most beautiful plan to bear, even in the midst of our circumstance, which oftentimes seems to mismatch our expectations on God and his plan and purpose in and through our lives. I want to encourage you this holiday season to step back and abandon yourself ever so much more this year to the divine providential plan of God. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Often it's a mismatch with our expectations and what he's doing. But the Lord promises us that his greatest beauty is ultimately unfolding in our lives and even in this broken world. Jesus crashed into this world there in that stable, and he's coming back. Listen, God bless you today. I want to encourage you today. Fall on the Lord's sovereign grace, even when it is a mismatch that you see in the world between our expectations and his unfolding plan. God bless you. Amen.